For today, we're playing Horizon Forbidden West with the ROG Ally, and we'll start it off at 1080p at the medium settings. Here we are at 1080p, and Episode 2 at the balance preset. We'll go with that. So for the Steam Deck, I used the lowest setting at 15 watts obviously, and at 800p. So I think for the ROG Ally, I'll do the same, but at 30 watts, like how it is right now, I'll be playing at the medium settings instead. And yeah, so far, we are sitting in the 30s, GPU is fully maxed out, and CPU is sitting at 60% usage. It's kind of high, but that's alright. The game is definitely playable in this area, but obviously in those heavier scenes, it will fall below 30 FPS. So personally, what I would do is enable dynamic res. So if it does fall below 30 FPS, it will adjust the resolution and try to achieve 30 FPS that way. But yeah, the graphics look amazing. Looks very sharp on the small screen, but sadly, at 1080p with FSR active, it can't hold a stable 30 at all times. Now with the Steam Deck, it did stutter and lag as I was going through a new section. It happened as well with the 4060 with frame gen active at those higher presets. So let's see if that's the case with the ROG Ally. And so far, it is stuttering, but it's not as aggressive as the Steam Deck or as the 4060, which is nice. It's not perfect, but still, it is playable. So let's pause it here, guys, and instead of using 15 watts, let's use dynamic res and target 30 FPS and see how we do there. Okay, 30 FPS target with dynamic res active, and right here, as you guys can see, we are able to hold a lock 30, and in a heavier situation, obviously we'll go lower in quality to try and keep the 30 FPS going. Now the stutters are still here, unfortunately. It isn't fully smooth at 30, so you keep that in mind. Alright, time for 900p at 15 watts. Let's try it out and see how we go. Okay, and 900p, 15 watts, we are sitting in the low 20s. So sadly, with FSR active, we can't hold a stable 30 going. I'm not surprised, but it's worth a shot to try it out and see how it goes. And for the graphics, it looks amazing, guys. But sadly, again, the FPS is the issue. And the stutters, of course. Whoa, look at that. The freezes are going crazy right here. As I'm loading in, the game is having a hard time keeping up. Now 30 watts at 900p. And look at that, guys. Almost in the 40s now. Way better. And again, the graphics look very nice. As sharp as before. And for how much FPS we gained, it's definitely worth playing at 900p over 1080p on the actual built-in screen. Now at 30 watts, guys, the game doesn't stutter, doesn't lag. It's playing beautifully all around. And loading into a new section, it doesn't make the game stutter or freeze like before either, which is nice. Still though, I think I would keep dynamic res enabled at 30 FPS because it does get close to that 30 FPS mark occasionally. So I think the safe bet is to have dynamic res on, and again, target 30 FPS. And now playing at 720p, lowest setting. Here we go with that. Let's try it out, see how we go. So with the Steam Deck, it could hold a stable 30 for the most part. It had stuttering issues, and I think it did fall below 30 at times, but overall, it was pretty decent. And right here with the ROG Ally, we are sitting in the high 20s and the mid 20s. So yeah, even at 15 watts, we can't hold a stable 30 in this section. The game is very laggy, it's very stuttery. It isn't playable, to be honest, but I'll go back and try it out with dynamic res at 30 again, and we'll see how we go. But first things first, let's see if the game lags or stutters in this section. And yeah, it does. It falls down into the low 20s with major stutters. Alright, dynamic res, 30 FPS, let's try it out. Apply it, and it's trying, but the best that it can do is the high 20s. So with dynamic res at 30 FPS, it still can't hold a stable 30 at all. It is unplayable the entire way through. Look at that. 14 FPS here, guys. There is no sharpness at all here. It is looking awful. Alright, lastly, 720p, 30 watts, and at the medium settings. And yeah, guys, we're sitting in the 40s now. For the sharpness and the graphics, it looks okay. It's not as sharp as before, obviously, but it does the job. And yeah, GPU-wise, it's sitting at 80%/90%. So we are getting bottlenecked by the CPU here. But in those heavier scenes, the extra headroom will come in handy, and your FPS shouldn't get affected too much. And yeah, right here, GPU is fully maxed out now, sitting at 95% usage. And yeah, still in the high 30s and the 40s. There we go, that's pretty good. The game is playable, obviously, and should be a good time all around. At this point, you have the option of playing at a 30 FPS cap or a 40 FPS cap, but it won't be very stable. But regardless, it should be a good time playing this game on the Ally. Alright, that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time, next video. See you guys there.